Well, to find out just how e-commerce is taking off in developing countries around the world, let's bring in Shawn DuBravac. He's a chief economist at the Consumer Technology Association. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, Shawn, let's look at some of the challenges, first of all, that traditional e-commerce sites have when they're trying to expand into some of these developing economies.
Well, there's a number of challenges. Obviously, the first and foremost is online access, and we're starting to bridge that quickly. You look at markets like China, about 46% of their population is online, compared to the US, where it's about 89% of the population. A place like India now, you only have 20% of the population online. As that grows, the comfort levels of buying online will grow with it.
Now, what about so-called leapfrogging, when people kind of develop these local innovations, things like motorcycle delivery and mobile internet vans, and perhaps even drone delivery to try and overcome some of the structural challenges?
You're seeing it happen everywhere. You're seeing them come up with new innovative solutions to overcome obstacles. There's a startup in India called Zipper, which is essentially making and helping the address problem. So one of the problems with India is you have these very long addresses, and it can be complicated and often involves additional instructions. So they're coming up with a geocode that will allow for delivery, both online as well as some of these delivery vehicles.
So people definitely getting creative then if they have to.
Definitely. You're seeing other companies explore how to use drones. JDcom in China, for example, talked at CS Asia about their drone delivery service and how they'll use it in some of the very rural areas of China.
Now, for these companies, having the product available is one thing, but what about being able to conduct business and kind of go through the red tape? How important is it for these companies to build a relationship with the governments in these countries?
It's very important that companies be able to experiment and to innovate, and so being able to navigate the policy arenas in each of these individual countries is important. You've seen Amazon, you've seen Alibaba and others expand beyond their domestic markets, and as they've done so, they've had to navigate the local markets, which involves not only local governments, but local policies and ultimately the local culture.
Now, speaking of local culture, you have these local vendors who've already been in place for many years. Is there a chance that these e-commerce sites are going to come in and price them out, or do they perhaps have an advantage, being that they have that local knowledge?
I think that there's certainly an advantage, but yet you're also competing against very strong global brands. I mentioned Alibaba, Amazon, of course, as they continue to expand into other markets. They bring a knowledge about logistics and about management. They understand how to price and how to promote, and so those give them also a unique advantage together with their scale. We are still very early on in the days of online commerce, and the way we think about online commerce today will be very different than what we think about online commerce in just 4 or 5, 6 years from now. And it wasn't very long ago that you couldn't buy anything online, and now we take that as given, and so it's changing very rapidly.
That's true. And one of the places that we're seeing a change is on the continent of Africa. We're seeing that Jumia Group, considered basically the Amazon of Africa, and it's actually the first unicorn from the continent, the first billion-dollar startup there. So what are they doing right?
I think you see them navigating that local environment. I mean, Nigeria is a very unique market. It's a very complex market for those who aren't familiar with the country. And so being able to navigate those local cultures and customs, they have a wide assortment of products that they're making available. They've been able to work around some of the local policies and procedures to be able to be in the marketplace. And that will continue to expand and continue to grow.
Now, do you think there's going to be a day where it's all kind of sectioned out? Alibaba will dominate Asia, perhaps Jumia dominating Africa, and then Amazon dominating North America and Europe. Is that the way it's going to head, do you think?
I think what you have seen in technology generally and broadly, but certainly within retailing, is that it is a very competitive environment. It's constantly changing. Companies that might one day be leaders fall quickly from the top. And so they're constantly having to innovate and to recreate an experience that resonates with consumers. And we've seen that here in the US throughout time when it comes to retailing, being able to change what you offer to the consumer so that it continues to be a positive experience. That is certainly going to be true in online, where things can change in a day.
Right.
and platforms can evolve and change. I mean, Prime Day is a perfect example. This is a day that didn't exist 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Amazon created it 2 years ago, and it became a very big selling day, not just for them today, but also for other retailers who took advantage of consumers going online looking for deals. So Walmart took advantage of it, and others took advantage of it. You're seeing that happen throughout the world.
It's true. We already see it with Alibaba. It's probably a trend we're going to continue to see. We'll have to leave it there, unfortunately. Shawn DuBravac, Chief Economist at the Consumer Technology Association. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.